Look at Benny Johnson. Look at Charlie Kirk. Look at Ben Shapiro. Look at Jesse Waters. Look at who else? Like these guys. Not to be homophobic, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe for the algorithm. Also consider supporting my channel in the description down below. Thank you. I probably agree with Charlie Kirk here. Dems blow $20 million to learn something I already know. $20 million to learn something Charlie Kirk already knows. What does Charlie Kirk know that he can tell Dems?
The Last Rodeo, Angel Studios' newest family blockbuster star.
Whoa, that's way too fast. Calm down. Calm down. Let's move the speed down to 1.15 instead. Okay.
Broadcast live from Washington, D.C., partially this week. Major news this weekend. The Democrat Party is telling us their plans. You see, the Democrat Party knows that they are losing, specifically losing young men. We know that in the 2024 exit polls, they showed that Trump won 54% of men ages 18 to 29, a 29-point shift from 2020's 15-point Biden lead. Let's go 223 up on screen. Just the presidential margins among men by race and ethnicity. Men are moving to the right dramatically. Dramatically. YouGov data shows that even in the United Kingdom, where I just was visiting last week, 32% of UK men ages 18 to 24 voted Reform UK, compared to 16% of women, doubling right-wing support. Globally, we are seeing that young men are scoring at a conservatism scale up nearly 30% versus 2014. So what is going on here? Well, we've covered this extensively. Where everything masculine is labeled toxic, young men are starting to search for a place where manhood is still honored, not...
Okay, now I agree with there being a problem. Now, some of it is a negative thing with men actually being very insecure and really babyish in the way they approach conversations, unable to have real conversations, and being afraid that women are doing well and maybe people from other races are doing well. If you're a white man, there is anxiety there. There's tons of cultural anxiety. It's mostly cultural. So there's an issue there. And there's also an issue with Democrats where they don't reach out to men to provide a counter narrative. If you don't provide a counter narrative to the white nationalists, men will become white nationalists, okay? Democrats refuse to engage in counter messaging, and their messaging does push men in that direction. Democrats have done way too much of the "you are an evil white man," all right? I hear it a decent amount. Now, it's not nearly as big as conservatives say it is, but I hear it a decent amount. Now, Charlie Kirk's framing is extreme victim mentality. Okay, men needing somewhere they can find honor. How about you adapt and improve your life? Charlie Kirk never tells his followers to do shit to improve themselves, to get better, to go for a better world, to build community. Charlie Kirk never gives any advice to his followers other than bitch, moan, complain, and be a little baby beta and try to enact authoritarian powers in government to force the world to have white men win by default. So like Charlie Kirk's approach here is a very victim mentality, but also Democrats here politically are terrible. Democrats here politically are atrocious. I wish I can help them.
Pathologized.
I wish I could help them. I wish I had a chance. I wish I had a chance to work in Democratic politics to hear their amazing ideas for attracting young men.
Young men are starting to search for a place where manhood is still honored, not pathologized. In a world that preaches weakness as virtue, we are offering challenge, order, and responsibility. And the men of the West are listening. The New York Times published a separate piece of data that is equally as interesting, where the Democrats know that their problem runs deep and everywhere. Show this up on screen.
I've never heard a Republican man say, I think I need to work harder. Or say, I think I need to work harder to build community. I've never heard Charlie Kirk say that. Like even Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson used to say the whole clean your room thing. At least that was a thing. I've never heard a conservative commentator. No conservative ever will ask something of their followers other than getting more mad. All right. The model for masculinity for men in America being Trump, who literally cries every single time he speaks. How dare you ask me such a mean question? That's so unfair. That's so unfair. I'm going to ban you if you ask me a question you don't like. He literally stormed away from a 60 Minutes interview because of a question that was too tough for him. He was afraid to debate Kamala Harris a second time. He could not debate Kamala Harris a second time. He refused to debate Nikki Haley once. All right, Trump has ran from every battle. Right now, Trump sounds like a disgruntled ex with Vladimir Putin. Like, Putin, I thought you were different. You changed. Vladimir, please, stop. Like, Trump is the most pathetic beta baby, lotion hand up, nepo, born on third base asshole you can think of. All right, fraudster, made his money through bullshit means, never worked a day in his life, never worked hard at anything, does not understand bullshit. Does not understand it. He does understand bullshit. He's a master of bullshit. But no one in the conservative movement ever says maybe men need to do things and open their horizons and improve for the modern era. They just want to bring the world back to a prior time, historically, where men won by default. All right? Things are more intellectual now. Women do better. Immigrants are doing better. All right? And now white men in America are mad because their ability to, shoulder, and it is a lot to shoulder just like physical manual labor and to be super stoic and never express their emotions. Those stoic qualities are not valued anymore in modern society, largely because they are not beneficial for it. There's a reason why they need this political movement to take America back to a time historically where white men won by default. Okay, and they want those laws passed again. It's a virtue of weakness. I will debate anyone on this topic, okay? The conservative movement in America right now runs on the virtue of weakness, lashing out at things they're uncomfortable with, and because they're uncomfortable, they're willing to crash. They're willing to break the entire building because the foundation is something they cannot work with. And they don't want to work hard enough. Men today do not want to work hard enough to fit into new modern frameworks. So they're pulling our asses back into the Stone Age.
Where almost the entire country is moving to the right, except the suburbs of Atlanta and the suburbs of Denver and parts of Virginia. Almost everywhere is moving dramatically to the right. The country is experiencing the course correction or the right-wing revolution, as I talked about in my book that I published last summer. That is exactly what we want to see happen. It is a seismic shift largely led by the men of the West that are rejecting the current composition of the Democrat Party. And the
current composition of the Democratic Party. By the way, these are very small counties. The divide is not that big. This is one of the slimmest Republican majorities in American history. Trump's first presidency, the majority Republicans had back then, was a much bigger red wave, by the way. Much bigger red wave. This was a mulligan. This was like a free pass for Republicans, all right? This was a free pass. Democrats gave up. Joe Biden torpedoed everything, all right? But this right here, these counties up here with like 5 people in them, that does not at all represent, it does not represent trends across America at all. And you're going to see in the midterms, if the elections are free and fair, you're going to see what I mean.
The Democrats know it. This is Cut 218. MSNBC reports that the New York Times is saying Democrats want to spend $20 million to figure out how to speak to young men.
Now, this is cringe.
Is there a USAID grant for that? There's USAID grant to
USAID,
make a Sesame Street for Iraqis, a USAID grant for every wild thing. Could they get a USAID grant to learn how to speak to the civilization that we've never touched before? I feel as if this is a National Geographic documentary. And now we venture into the wild to learn to talk to a group of people largely forgotten. No, they're not the Aborigines of Australia. They're not the island people of Sri Lanka. They're not the Incans or the former Mayans. They are men, half of the population of the country.
The issue is Democrats are looking for men that are virtuous in a way that men today in America do not really want to be. America does not have men that want to be politically correct. All right, they want to be able to joke, even if they are progressive. They want to be able to make jokes that are edgy without being yelled at and ridiculed every time they speak. All right, even if they are wrong about something, they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be condescended to. They want to feel like they arrive to conclusions on their own. It needs to be conversational debates in podcast form. It cannot be a direct confrontation because those direct confrontations can drill them deeper into the spots they're in. It needs to be people who have like a chill vibe to them in some way. And I know I have a lot of haters on my channel, but I also have a very high conversion rate when I talk to people because I'm from an actual background in a rural part of freaking Pennsylvania versus all the Pod Save America. And, good on them for having their shows for the liberal safe spaces. But none of these big media individuals are from real places. Like, very few are. They're from Massachusetts, New York, California, all these very blue states. So, like, even just having a background where you're not going to talk like an Ivy League dipshit or, a background where you're going to talk totally out of touch can be hugely beneficial. But I don't think Democrats are ever going to find that because if they're going to spend $20 million looking for a Joe Rogan or whatever, they're going to spend money in really stupid areas like always. Like always. The consultants don't know shit, all right? The consultants are not from backgrounds that allow them to make smart decisions here.
We desire to govern. Play Cut 218.
With the midterms fast approaching and a full 6 months after November's electoral drubbing, the Democratic Party appears to still be in fact-finding mode. The New York Times reports that party donors and strategists have been gathering at luxury hotels to discuss how to win back working-class voters. And they're spending $20 million on an effort to try to figure out how to speak to young men. Quote, "It is codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic..."
So cringe. Okay. No more land acknowledgments every single time you talk, all right? If you want to talk about different systemic issues, phrase them in a way that doesn't sound forced, that doesn't sound like you're forcing everyone to abide to your ideology, okay? Say it in a way that can educate people, in a conversational way that doesn't make someone feel like the enemy, okay? Toxic masculinity should never be used as a phrase. White privilege should never be used outside of a graduate level freaking sociology class, okay? It should never be used in common parlance. Make sure when you talk about pronouns, do not force everyone to announce it. Not every trans person wants to announce their pronouns every time they talk either, by the way. Just give a chance for everyone to introduce themselves. You don't need to have a pronoun class every time you introduce yourself. All right, be more chill. Democrats, be a little bit more chill. Welcome people in. All right, get their hearts first. Be chill. Be friends with them. All right, we have more in common than we have that separate us. All right.
Strategic plan and promises investment to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. With the midterms.
The syntax, language, and content. So they hire a linguist as if they're trying to decode ancient Sumerian. How did we go so wrong talking to these people? You are the problem. Everything you believe is the problem. Instead of meeting at luxury hotels, if you want to see how men actually think, maybe you should have went to the Indy 500 this last weekend on Memorial Day. Or maybe go on a hunting trip. Maybe show up at a football game and show up to a tailgate and ask the men of the West.
Well, it's not about that exactly. I mean, it is about that. But like Tim Walz, for example, there are sit-down conversations where Tim Walz is talking to these men Kirk is talking about. And Tim Walz can win them over. But the right-wing media echo chamber makes things so toxic that no matter who you are, like Tim Walz had all the football stuff, had all the hunting stuff, had all the, he served, and the right wing was able to make all of those negative things because the right wing, they are pessimistic pushovers that hate life itself, and they don't want a good country. They want a country where they can feel less insignificant. So they need to pull other people down. Like if you have someone who cares about football and all this other shit in Indy 500, the right wing media will lie. So the real question would be, who has enough energy and has a microphone and a speaking ability to overpower the right-wing propaganda that's going to make people just like not like you? Because the shit Joe Rogan believed about Tim Walz is batshit crazy. And Tim Walz to Joe Rogan is the biggest liar in American political history, but Trump is honest. So like,
why are you voting
And also, Charlie Kirk's, every position Charlie Kirk has is built off of religious fundamentalism and a cult ideology or lies. Every single point. So it's not like he has correct points here.
Republican. And they will tell you something that is not going to show up in their data. You see, it's a vibe. And honestly, I got to give our podcast, our campus content, some credit, not all. The vibe is that if you embrace the Democrats, that is like the weakest femboy, low testosterone thing imaginable. It's not even that they love Republicans or love conservatism. It's just that it's such a sad shell and husk of your former self.
You know, if you really think about the right-wing commentators, look at Benny Johnson, look at Charlie Kirk, look at Ben Shapiro, look at Jesse Waters, look at who else? Like these guys, not to be homophobic, but like if you see them and hear them talk, do they really feel like masculine men? Or even Donald Trump. These men or Pete Hegseth getting a makeup department installed in the Pentagon. Like these are insecure, whiny individuals. The only thing that is manly about them is believe in dumb shit, because men like believe in dumb shit because they feel lesser than and insecure if they're around someone who knows their shit. All right, American men think it's cool to not know your shit because they feel insecure that they don't, which is a problem because the real answer is men should work harder and try to learn stuff they don't understand. All right, and the left should not be rejecting those men, but really think about top conservative commentators. Like, I'm trying to think about who all these people are. Tim Pool, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson. Like, brother, what's going on here? I think I'm sorry, but the female conservative commentators are more masculine. Like, Glenn Greenwald, like, what's going? Okay, he's actually gay. Sorry, but like, I'm not saying the left is any better when it comes to like soy vibes, but like, come on, bro. Like, chill. Like, it's such a bad way to do politics. I'm sorry.
If you are going to become a man voting on the...
And they're all former theater kids. They're all former theater kids that could not make Hollywood. And because they couldn't make Hollywood, they had to become actors and lie about politics instead. So, like, you're following a bunch of theater boys and a bunch of reality television people and people that do money laundering and financial fraud. Like, that's your men. That's your manly men. Like, it's kind of crazy. And someone like Mark Kelly, you hate Mark Kelly, but you love Elon Musk, who has fake profiles on Twitter to call himself hot. Like, what's going on, bro? What's going on with this whole crisis in America? By the way, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate you watching. I'll take some phone calls then. If you drop likes, I get more viewers. If I get more viewers, I get more calls. Thank you for watching.
The Democrat side is that you're going to be constantly policing people's speech through the pronoun directives. You're going to be caring about...
Someone said Tim Pool isn't right. Tim Pool literally said it's okay for Donald Trump to ship people off to different countries and suspend constitutional rights because he supports an authoritarian government, a right-wing government, to rid America of the left decay. Like, okay, Tim Pool is not right. If you think Tim Pool is not on the right, you are literally brain dead with such high concentrations of lead in your brain. We could probably use you to store electricity because you have so much packed electricity. Or just like the metals in your brain are so... It's just so like... you're zapped. It just... I want to say other words that are really offensive to people, but I can't. I'm sorry. So, like, if I ever make bad insults, it's because I'm trying to call you like a bad word, a really bad word. But I need to say it like weenie because I can't really curse that much. So I say you're like a weenie with lead in your brain and you're brain dead. So, like, I try to keep it like a little PG, you know?
Race hostilities and the mobilizing of resentments. While the left offers therapy and safe spaces, we on the right, we offer discipline, identity, and meaning. And
identity.
Men are craving meaning.
Identity. What is the meaning the right offers? The meaning, bro. It's the meaning, bro. If men are too afraid to go to therapy, they're weak and they cannot handle their emotions. If they cannot talk about their emotions, if they need to be emotionless, they're too weak to handle their emotions out in public. Weak men typically need to hide their emotions, unless if you've been in trauma, that's a little different. But
men are suffering under Viktor Frankl's existential despair. But the Democrat strategists and donors meeting at this luxury hotel are seeking a prognosis. As they're meeting at the swanky hotels, they say they're going to buy advertisements and video games, among other things. That's it. We're done.
Kill me, bro.
No one's ever thought to buy advertisements and video games.
Yeah, that is terrible. That is terrible. It's so bad. The consultants are terrible. Don't let the consultants in the room anymore. Hire me. Please hire me. DNC, please hire me. DNC, please hire me. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Every single one of us is media. For us to overcome what's happening right now, we all need to push in the right direction. Whether you make your own content, if you share my content or another creator you like, thank you so much for supporting this. We all need to do our job, and I really appreciate what you have to give, whether it's financial or not. If you cannot afford to donate, do not donate. Share the video around, drop a like, comment, subscribe. You are helping more than you could ever imagine.